Hey everybody, this is Devin Edwards with Favorite Manly Recipes. Today we're doing some St. Louis style ribs out on our smoker. It's the night before we're going to smoke them, so we want to get our marinade, our rub onto these. We're not going to be injecting with anything into these ribs, but we want to go ahead and get the rub down on them, let them soak overnight in that rub, and then put them on the smoker in the morning. And we're looking at about a 6-hour cook with St. Louis style spare ribs. And we're going to use the 1-2-3 method, which creates the rib. It's nice, it's tender, it's easy to bite through, and it takes about 6 hours. We're going to do 3 hours in the smoker. Then we're going to foil them, put them back on the smoker for another 2, take them out of the foil, let them kind of firm up again during that last hour. And we're going to make this real easy and real simple to do by using some Plowboy's barbecue rub. This can be bought at BBQ Pit Stop in Lehi, Utah. You can also go to their website at bbqpitstop.com and order this on their website, have it sent to you. People will think you are a champion rib master with this rub. It is amazing. You'll love it. Invite family and friends over because it's the best ribs they'll ever have. Alright, so we've already prepped these ribs. We've got the membrane off the back, which you can see in another video of mine. What we want to do is get these nice and dry, so we're going to get a paper towel, just pat them down again, make sure they're nice and dry before we put on our rub. And I'm going to do the front and the back, so we're going to apply rub to both. So here we are, we're on the back of the rib. First thing you want to do is get some mustard. Now mustard isn't going to add a lot of flavor to it, but it's going to create a little stickiness. And that's kind of what we're looking for here. Is we want it just to stick to this mustard. So you don't need to use a ton of it. You just need to get just a nice little coating on there. Okay. Now we're using our rub from the BBQ Pit Stop. Again, that's Plowboy's barbecue. Has a real, just a great flavor smell to it. We're just going to lightly coat it all the way across the rib. I like that red color. It's going to come out of the smoker just looking great. Nice deep red when we're finished. Now, I like mine to be pretty spicy, so I add quite a good layer of rub on there. And just kind of pat that in. We're not actually going to be rubbing it hard, we just want it nicely patted in, just so it's sticking. A little bit more there on the end. There we go, that's looking good. Personally, I like to add my rub to the bottom of the meat, just because it's going to add a little bit extra flavor, and that's why we remove the membrane as well, so that rub can penetrate through. We're going to do the same to the front here. Get a little mustard. That's looking good. So we have a nice coating. It's kind of why you want to dry the rib before. We don't want a lot of water on there when we put it on the mustard, because we want it to stick right to that mustard and hold through the night. We're going to let this marinate in the fridge overnight for about 12 hours, and then we'll get it back on and outside. So now, again, we're going to be generous with this rub and apply it across the rib. Smells good. Gets me thinking, gets me ready to eat just smelling this rub. Okay, and we'll pat this down. A nice deep red color. Mostly that's from the paprika that's inside this rub. Gives it a nice flavor. It also gives it a nice red color. Now I'm a little more generous on the top of the rib than I am on the bottom. But again, I mean, just flavor this to your taste as how you feel. I like mine to be a little on the spicy side. Has a nice bold flavor. Okay, so basically that's it. We've put our rub on. I'm going to put this on a cookie tray, put aluminum foil or plastic wrap over top of it, let it sit overnight for at least 12 hours, and in the morning or late afternoon we get it ready and put it in our smoker. Again, this recipe is about 6 hours long, so prepare for a 6-hour smoke on this. To finish, you can do as many racks of ribs as you want, or your smoker will fit. They'll all take about that 6 hours. So we'll get this in the fridge and we'll see you over in the morning. Alright, so we're about 6 hours away from when we want to eat. We want to eat about 6 o'clock tonight. So right now it's about 11:30. I'm getting my smoker prepped and ready to go. What we want to do is we want to achieve a heat. I want to keep it consistent about 225 when our meat's on. We're going to cook the meat, the ribs, on this temperature, 225 for 3 hours, uncovered. And that's going to let the smoke permeate into the meat. It's going to give us all our smoke flavor. After the 3 hours, we're going to wrap them in foil for 2. That's going to create kind of a steam effect. Get the ribs nice, juicy, moist, really easy to bite into. Then the last hour, we throw them back on the smoker for 1 hour to let them kind of tighten up just a little bit so there's a little bite to them and they don't just fall apart off the bone. Today I'm using an apple and mesquite blend for my wood and my heat source. Good flavors for the smoke, great on the ribs. So I'm going to let this finish heating up and up to temperature, and then I'm going to go grab my ribs and get them on the smoker. Okay, so my smoker's up to temperature. Right now it's sitting at about 230, 235. With the meat on, it should cool it down a little bit. We should be sitting right at that 225 range. If you do overheat a little bit, if you're still in that 15 degrees up, 15 degrees down, it's not really going to matter too much. Try to keep it consistent at 225 as best you can, though. That's what's great about these Traeger grills and similar wood pellet grills, is it's able to maintain that heat real well without much fiddling around and keeping an eye on it. So let's get these ribs in. Okay, so my ribs are in. I'm going to let these cook for 3 hours. As I said before, every hour I'm going to come out and spray them down with a little apple juice as well. Alright, so we're into our cook. I'm going to go ahead and spray these down with some apple juice. I'm going to spray these down now and again in another hour, and then we'll get them wrapped in foil. Alright, so our ribs are about finished on the smoker, so I'm going to get them ready to wrap. We're going to do a little prep work on this as well. Basically what we want to do is put down a bed of brown sugar onto our tin foil. We're going to lay our ribs right on this little bed of brown sugar once we bring them in. We're going to lay the ribs bone side down, or excuse me, bone side up on these ribs, or on our foil. and wrap them, put them back on the grill, bone side up. So I got my little layer of brown sugar here. That looks good. Now I'm going to put on a little bit more of our barbecue rub. Just to add a little bit more spice. And then squeeze butter. Just squeeze a strip kind of down and across. And that will melt in. Okay, I'm going to go outside and get our ribs and place it down, and we're going to do the same thing on top. So I'll go grab my ribs and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got our ribs in. I've put down our brown sugar, some extra rub, some butter. I've also added some apple juice for this part, just so they can steam a little bit better while they're in the smoker for the next 2 hours. I'm just going to add a little bit more moisture in there for the ribs with our apple juice. Did want to show you this. We're getting a little bit of separation from the bone here on the rib. That's what we're looking for. Now when we wrap these up, it should shrink back that meat even more, and you'll see a nice distinct bone on each rib. So let's wrap this back up and get it in our smoker. Alright, now our ribs all wrapped. Made sure that you know, we're not poking out anywhere. We want this to be nice and sealed well. Be careful when you're doing this and wrapping it up that you don't puncture any holes. Make sure there's no moisture coming out, that it's sealed up nice. Now we're going to put these in just like I wrapped them. We're bone side up, so the curve of the bone is facing upwards. And we want to smoke these bone side up now on the smoker. So we'll put this back on for another 2 hours and then unwrap it and let it sit for 1 more hour on the smoker, and we'll be ready to eat. Okay, our ribs have been on for about 2 hours now. We're going to pull them off and put some barbecue sauce on them, let them tighten up for another hour. So let's get them off. Alright, so we're going to unwrap these. Put it back on. Alright, see, now we've got a lot of separation from the bone. This is why we want to put it back on and tighten them up. These are going to fall apart if we just, look at that, so that bone, if I pull on that, it's going to fall off. So we're going to try to get these out and back on the smoker without ripping them apart. It's easier said than done. There we go. Okay, now you can see if you look in here, so you got a lot of separation from the bone now. Those are looking really good. Now what we want to do is get a little barbecue sauce on these as well. Good for the last hour. So I just got a spoon and I got my Blues Hog barbecue sauce that we can get down at the barbecue pit stop. Really like this flavor. It's good barbecue sauce. I'm just going to spoon it on and smooth it out. A baster for this or anything you like. Personally, I just think the spoon just works better for me. Coat it a little more even. There we go. That looks great. These are going to be excellent ribs. And just push that back a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest up, and we'll be eating in about 45 minutes to an hour. Alright, so I brought my ribs in. They've been out for another hour. I'm just going to put another little coat of barbecue sauce on each one, and we should be good to eat. So I have two Rex. I'm using the Blues Hog Smoky Mountain on one and the original on the other. Both again great barbecue sauces. So I'm just going to get a little more barbecue sauce on this. That looks good. Now these ribs are done. They're up to temperature and look great. I'm gonna cut into one here in a second and take a look. Get a little more barbecue sauce on this one. Now one thing you probably want to do is let these rest for about 10-15 minutes before you serve them up. Kind of let those juices redistribute. For the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and cut into mine now, so I can show you this kind of our smoke ring and what we got. Go ahead and come closer. Did a bad job following the bone there, but you can see on there we got a nice pink smoke ring. Down, good penetration with the smoke. Looks good with the rib. I'm gonna try it out. Well, let's see here. All right. Oh, that is hot. Looks really good color, good consistency to it. Let's take a bite. Oh, man, that is good. Hot, but really good. Good flavor, good texture. It just kind of pulls off, has just a little bite to it. Pulls off the bone real nice. That is a good rib. I'm making a mess already. Enjoy your ribs.